Jason couldn't get hired because the standards for computer jobs where he lived were super high. And he realized he needed a college degree, but even online ones cost $50,000, and he was busy being a stay-at-home dad. And yet, through sheer ingenuity and the power of college hacking, he brought that $50,000 cost down to $5,300. And actually, there's more. He took that $5,300 cost and brought it down to $1,000. Well, technically a little bit under $1,000. So today, we're telling his story.
By the time I graduated high school, I was already working full-time every summer, and it was just what I was used to. And then I went to a local school over in Massachusetts for computer science and chemistry, actually. And I was going to pick up a mathematics minor just because I was already testing out of calculus in my freshman year. So I was on track. I was going to college and living in an apartment at the time.
But what happened next?
Being kind of clever, not to toot my own horn here, high school wasn't a challenge, right? I have ADHD, which I was diagnosed as a kid, but my parents didn't really want to deal with it. So when I went to college, I never had any good study habits. I never did homework. And college is where you're supposed to learn how to learn and how to spend time and figure things out. And I had none of those skills going into it. So when I stopped being able to just test out of every class, I hit a brick wall, basically. And just kind of burnt out because I was tired of failing all my classes and paying through the nose for it. I was struggling to make ends meet. I was trying to work blue collar jobs, and it was just really soul crushing for a long time. So I decided to try to get a better income. I signed up for massage therapy school, met my girlfriend, we started raising kids, and just the idea of having a computer career kind of got away from me, even though I had 10 to 15 years of experience with rebuilding things, repairing things, hacking things. Tried to pivot, started getting some certifications because that's what the general guidelines are for tech people, is that college isn't really needed. Just get some certifications and the hiring manager will help you out. In Massachusetts, that's not necessarily true. Most people working in tech in Massachusetts have a degree, have certifications, and possibly have experience by the time they're 20, 25. Just having a couple certifications and zero work experience or college degree meant my resume just got thrown in the can, basically. And over time, I decided that instead of working blue-collar jobs to make ends meet, and as my kids are getting older, I figured it was time to transition to a long-term career, so I went back to school. College Hacked, Josh Madakor on YouTube were like, hey, go to WGU, check this out.
So your first instinct was to go to YouTube and start looking up how to do this, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's like second nature for tech people, right? We Google up everything. And I couldn't afford to go to a 4-year school in terms of time or in cost. So I was like, all right, there's got to be a way to try to get a degree or try to test out of things. A couple years before I went to WGU, I tried to go to Southern New Hampshire University, as well as Thomas Edison. And that's when I learned about how CLEP exams worked, how straight line worked, and figured out that, there are things that I can do to try to get some college credits on the cheap. Ultimately, that led me towards the WGU path, and I'm happy.
Let's break this down a little bit. What did you end up doing to hack WGU? Did you do Sophia, Study.com, stuff like that? Or did you just go straight to WGU and
No, I definitely hacked it. So I decided January of last year that I was going to figure out how to get it done. Actually make a timeline, not general idea, actually step by step. It all went to crap in 2 months, but we figured it out. I started by renewing my Security Plus certification. Altogether, it's 12 or 15 credits through WG right there. I knew I was going to end up at Sophia anyway. My original plan was to do 1 month at Sophia, knock out all the ones I could, and then go to study.com for the other ones. But when I looked at it, and since I wasn't doing the ones at Sailor, committing to the 4-month block at Sophia was the right call, because at least I could take more than 2 classes in a month. When you do the 4-month block, you only pay for 3. So I was like, all right, so for $300, 4 months, and I have enough time to probably do it all. And I ended up finishing early anyway. I knocked out just 45 credits straight through in 3 months.
Wow. So you did Sophia, you did some pre-homework, and then it was time for WGU, I take it?
Yep.
And how long did it take you to knock out your remaining 60 credits?
It took me the entire time, but because I'm a stay-at-home dad, there were family obligations. So there was a couple weeks that I wasn't able to really study.
But you got all of those done in just that 6-month period. which
Yeah.
means you spent like just under $4,500 with the tech fee to be able to do that entire half of a degree at WGU.
So the total for the entire degree at that time was just under $5,300. It gets better though, because I wasn't working. I qualified for Pell Grant. I also earned a scholarship through WGU, so you should always take the time to apply to at least some of them. The total out of pocket was $976.
976. And then you also did all of this in what is that total? Like 10 months to finish this?
I earned the first certification early March and I graduated the 1st of April.
That is awesome, man. That is under $1,000, roughly 1 year. That is the college hacking way, and that is super, super cool. And I know now you're going back to go get a master's, but just like to wrap up here, like, is there a word of wisdom you have or one big piece of advice you would give to other people who are where you were 15 months ago?
The biggest thing holding me back from doing all of this was indecision about whether or not I should. So I spent a couple years trying to do certifications, trying to find another way in, trying to meet the right people, and ultimately just deciding to go for the degree and just get it done started the whole chain of events to actually get me to where I am now. 2 years ago, if you asked me if I was ever going to graduate college, I probably would have said no and would have continued to feel like a dropout and that I wasn't deserving of getting a degree. And now I'm going for my master's now. Maybe I'll get a doctorate later on, and I'm networking with people in the field that I want to be with. So it's just all pluses. Just commit to starting it, look it up, go for it.
You said something there I want to hone in on. You said, feeling like you deserved that bachelor's degree. I'm sure being a sharp kid in high school, hitting that brick wall, your first attempt at college, and then coming back around to it and actually succeeding. Like, how does that make you feel about yourself as a scholar, as a student, as a member of the workforce? Like, how does getting this degree change how you see yourself?
The weight of being a college dropout and having this immense imposter syndrome is just gone at this point. For years, I would tell, myself and other people, it's like, oh, I don't need college. I know I'm smart. I could figure it out. And it was true, but there was always that voice in the back of my head telling me, like, yeah, but you didn't finish, did you? Maybe you shouldn't be proud of yourself and how smart you are if you couldn't even finish college if it's so easy. Now that I've graduated and I realized it's still an accomplishment, even if it is a stepping stone towards bigger things.
That's awesome, man. These are words of wisdom to live by. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know everybody else who is watching this is grateful for your time, Jason. Thanks for being on, man, and best of luck with that master's degree.
Thank you. Have a great day.
I love Jason's story. He told me that he's ready to go and get a master's now and maybe even eventually a doctorate. But for the meantime, he is ready to start competing for those hard to get jobs in his area, which means more fulfillment for him, more income for his family, and a better future for all of them together. And it took him less than a year and less than $1,000 to get there. And honestly, you could be next. Sign up for a consultation with us at the link in the description, and we'll get you hacking in no time so that you can graduate quickly and inexpensively and build a career that you love. Thanks for watching, and happy hacking.